Hello everybody, today we're going to have a look at Reluctant Enemies from Multiman Publishing. This is a game that covers Operation Exporter, quite a little known series of battles, where the Commonwealth invaded the Lebanon and Syria in 1941 that were at that point controlled by the Vichy French, hence the Reluctance. Okay, now personally I think this was one of my favourite box covers of all time. Very atmospheric. You can see the Bren Carry in the desert. You might not be able to tell, but there's some artwork faded away in the background as well. Really nice, quite a slim box. On the back, okay, usual description, picture of the map with some counters on it. So, let's have a look what's in the box. Now, if you know anything about MMP, you'll probably know that their most popular series is OCS. That's the Operational Combat Series. And that covers battles mostly in World War II, but it goes as far as Korea. Quite detailed, certainly not for beginners, I would say. A lot of information, a lot of focus on supply, and lots of aircraft, things like that, artillery. So, accessible, playable, but not really what you might expect for beginners. There's a lot of stuff in this little box, I'll tell you. Okay, first of all, we start with the special rules just for this game. Now, these aren't the standard rules, these are the Reluctant Enemies rules, and you'll see the standard rules in a minute. These are 24 pages. Okay, that's quite a lot without even having the basic rules in there. But it's got order of battles, it's got information, lots and lots of history. So don't worry about it too much. There's only about 6 or so pages of actual information that you need to play the game. The rest of it is commentary. Next, we get into the meat and bones of this. The Operation Combat Series rules. Now, if you've never played a war game before, you're going to look at this and probably think, wow, 48 pages, reasonable sized text, not too small, but this is almost all rules. You've got air combat, you've got engineers, you've got railroads, you've got supply. You've got pretty much anything you'd expect in some kind of operational game series. Okay, hence the name. There's surprise, there's strategic movement, you can be disorganised, you've got morale. So they're the standard rules that are used for all of the OCS series games. Okay, there's quite a lot to them. They've been around for quite a long time and they're up to version 4.1. Now, there's a lot to take in there, so if you're not really sure, you just want to have a quick look, there's this summary as well. Okay, the summary will help you maybe cover some of the points that you didn't realise. You know, if you try and read all those rules in one go, you're going to find them quite tricky. The next thing, and one thing that makes this ideal for people who are new to OCS, is this starter guide. Okay, it basically is a run through of a game of Reluctant Enemies. It's in colour, it's got lots of text. If you're not sure about something, you're going to be able to read this and you're going to be much more confident about how to play OCS. Next, we've got the map. Now, MMP, this OCS series, they've often used, or I think they've always used, this white text grid on a coloured background. Personally, I'm not so keen on the white, but I actually think it works really well here. I think this is actually probably one of the best maps they've ever done for the OCS series. It's got lots of information on it. You can see Mount Hermon there. Okay, you've got the Sea of Galilee, you've got Syria, Transjordan, Palestine and the Lebanon up there. Really nicely done. You shouldn't have any difficulty understanding this. You've got the turn record track there, which looks a bit complicated but is a lot simpler than it looks. Terrain effects chart. Okay, really nicely done. It's not shiny, which I really appreciate. Nobody wants to sit for hours looking at a shiny map with the lights reflecting off it. Finally, the counters. Now, if you know anything about OCS games, you'll know that they're generally monsters. Thousands and thousands of counters, you know, up to dozens of maps. Reluctant Enemies is the game that you can start playing OCS with, and that's one of the reasons it's been designed. That's all your counters. Okay? Here, you've got the units, British units, French units, markers. So only half of those counters are actually going to be on the map at any one point anyway, generally. Quite an easy one to get into. Really nicely done setup charts as well. Okay, these are good quality, full colour, great for beginners. Nothing on the back, unfortunately. Then we got the charts and tables. Now these charts and tables have looked like this ever since they released the system, and I can't say I've ever found them particularly attractive, but they are relatively easy to read. I'm not sure orange on white is necessarily the best colour scheme, but it looks okay. There's your combat results table. Looks complicated, isn't really as complicated as it looks. And once you start playing it, you can actually get through turns very quickly. Okay, you've got 2 copies of that. Obviously 2-player game. Very convenient for both players to be able to have their own copy. And finally, a little note for MMP saying thanks very much for buying this game. Okay, I hope you've appreciated having a look what's inside the box. I think if you've ever had any interest in OCS, you know, you've looked at people playing Case Blue, Enemy at the Gates, Guderian's Blitzkrieg, and thought, that system looks great, but I just can't do anything on that scale, then Reluctant Enemies is absolutely the game you should go for. I'm quite excited to be able to have a copy of an OCS game that I can play on my own table, and play solitaire as well, without burning out after a few days. Okay, I hope you've been interested in that, and I've given you a good look at what's in the box for Reluctant Enemies. Thanks very much.